So today, we have Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, taking on Gamora from the MCU. Who wins? Let's find out. So, who's stronger? Well, Gamora sent Nebula absolutely flying with a kick. She lifted and threw this big dude with ease. She easily threw Rocket like 30 feet and cut through Groot's arms. She broke out of Groot's vines as well. She held onto a cord that was tied around Drax's waist as they crash landed on a planet, and she lifted, carried, and held this small car-sized cannon on her shoulder while she was walking and shooting it, keeping it steady the entire time. Uh, but Spider-Man broke a dude's wrist with ease, slammed a door so hard that he accidentally shattered the glass on the door, threw a football nearly an entire football field's length with enough force to bend a metal pole, completely destroy a basketball goal just by dunking the ball, fight against the lizard, and he caught a flying police car with his bare hands and only slightly bent his knees, and then just casually tossed it behind him. I'd say Spider Man is stronger, but it's not by a wide margin. What about durability? Well, Gamora has fought through being electrocuted. She landed on her feet just fine after a very high fall. She survived being slammed into a wall by a rising rock pillar, crash landing on a planet, and being sent flying by an exploding spaceship just fine. But Spider Man was just fine after being thrown through a wall, followed by a chemical explosion. He quickly recovered from the effects of a taser, a baseball bat shattered over his back. He withstood deep slashes across his chest from a lizard, an electrical blast from Electro, and he even kept on fighting and going after being shot in the leg. He also seemed to have some sort of healing factor, seeing that this bullet wound didn't even affect him during his final fight with the lizard, and this bullet hit him just a few minutes prior to the fight. I'd say they're fairly even here, with Spider Man maybe having a slight edge. And now, speed. Gamora was able to put a knife up to Drax's throat before he or anyone else in the room could react. She dodged a blaster shot at close range, and she was able to outrun Nebula's spaceship while avoiding its machine gun fire. But Spider Man easily caught a fly with two fingers, dodged four shots from a cop at close range while joking around, weaved through Electro's electricity, dodged point blank machine gun fire while swinging closer to the shooter, and he was able to keep two people from touching this metal railing that had been electrified by Electro. And these two people were on opposite sides of the bleachers, and uh, Peter only had one working web shooter at the time. He was able to do a lot of this because of his spider sense, which alerted him to when bad things were happening and to incoming danger so he could react to it accordingly. Spider Man also just has excellent agility. Spider Man is definitely faster, more agile, and is just overall physically better. Not by a wide margin. Gamora would definitely be able to compete physically, but all in all, Spider Man is physically superior. But where Gamora lacks in physicality, she more than makes up for it in skill, as she's one of the best fighters in the MCU. She was extensively trained by Thanos in martial arts, swordsmanship, and assassination basically all her life. He would pin Gamora up against Nebula while training, Lord knows how many times throughout their life, where the loser would receive cybernetic enhancements to become the winner's equal. And Gamora won each and every single time. Not once did she lose. And Nebula is a fierce and lethal assassin in her own right. The only reason Nebula beat her in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is because Gamora showed compassion, and Nebula took advantage of that. Not to mention, that wasn't just a hand to hand fight, as Nebula literally started off in a spaceship. Gamora also showed that she was the best fighter on the Guardians of the Galaxy team, as she greatly outclassed Star-Lord and bested Drax as well. And Drax is also a skilled warrior, despite not being the smartest guy in the room. Spider-Man has no skill or training to speak of, although he does perfectly use his strength, speed, agility, and web shooters while in a fight. Not only did he best Lizard, Electro, and Harry, he also bested like 6 cops while looking at the ground to keep his identity hidden. But Gamora is far better in terms of technical and raw skill. Moving on to their weapons. Well, Gamora's sword has been able to cut groups' arms off, as well as cut through that massive monster's hide at the beginning of the Guardians 2. But Spider-Man's web shooters have been able to easily restrain people and rip a fire hydrant out of the ground, hold up cars, and momentarily restrain Lizard. This web will be a problem for Gamora that she's never had to face before. Uh, but her sword is a good counter to it. I think she'll quickly be able to adapt to it in the fight, and then either break her out of it like she did with Groot's vines, or use her sword to cut through it, because the sword would definitely be able to do that. He can also use his webs to just swing all around Gamora as well. So, who wins? Well, I think it's safe to say either one of them could win, whether it's Spider-Man's superior strength, speed, web shooters, and spider sense, or Gamora's superior skill and sword. I think either one could win. But I think at the end of the day, I'm siding with Gamora. She can hang with Spider-Man physically, and I think her skill and sword gives her the edge she needs. Now, his spider sense is definitely going to be her biggest problem. He'll be able to evade a lot of her sword strikes. But you have to remember that Spider-Man has never faced a legit skilled fighter before, let alone one of the very best in the MCU. I think Gamora's skill just outweighs the physical gap between them, and her sword can definitely put down Spider-Man. Gamora wins. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you think, and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace.